sleep. Crank it up. Crank it up. Come on, lady. Crank it up. Crank it up. Crank it up. Yeah! Yeah, this guy finally gets it. Hey, look, we're on the Jumbotron.
It's the perfect blend of flavor and heat. Frank's Red Hot. I put that on everything.
College basketball lives here. WGSX Lynn, WPLQ Port St. Joe, ESPN Northwest Florida. Rise and shine, campers. It's a brand new day.
What a lovely morning.
Good morning, starshine.
You seem happy this morning.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks for coming in early.
The Coach James Hale Show is live and local. Live from the J. Michael Studio. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Get past the people, get past the hit man.
All right, we have the substitute edition today. Obviously, I'm not James Hale, and Jason Kovaleski is across from me. James Hale is on assignment somewhere. We're not real sure where.
Calling and audible.
Yeah, there's no telling where he is.
He's delivering NIL money to the new Alabama recruits.
I think that's it. Could be tied up with NIL. But for those who don't know, I'm Jim Barant. I coached with Coach Hale a long time. Jason Kovaleski sitting with us, owns Max Fit in town and at Pier Park. And we're going to have a different kind of show because we're not real sure where this is going. Pat Perno is supposed to be coming in later. He's a city commissioner, so he's always tied up, seems like. Never real sure when he's going to be here, but the rumor is that he will be here. He owns Beef O'Brady's up in town in Lynn Haven.
Politics and business.
Politics.
Keep you busy.
Yeah, it keeps you busy. Well, we're going to start off with, if James Hale was here, we wouldn't do this because he doesn't follow the NFL, but I was born in Cleveland, Ohio, so I followed the NFL. I had no choice. I'm a Browns fan.
You watched the award show.
I watched the award show.
Why would you torture yourself like that?
Well, it turned out really good because I'm also an Ohio State fan, as is Jason. And for Browns and Ohio State people, it was a really good night last night. Let me just kind of give you a rundown here. This is no order of importance. It's just kind of the way it played out. Quarterback C.J. Stroud, obviously an Ohio State guy, was Rookie of the Year, and the NFL had a tremendous season. I was happy to see that. I'm not surprised at all that he did that well.
No.
Kevin Stefanski, head coach of the Browns, was Coach of the Year. That's the second time he's won it, and you all follow these websites online, and people just hate on him. It's like he's won Coach of the Year twice in like 4 years.
Look how many injuries they had this year.
Yeah.
I mean, like 30% of their starters were on injured reserve by the end of the year.
Exactly. So. Myles Garrett, who is a tremendous player.
3 offensive linemen, starters.
Was the Defensive Player of the Year. Jim Schwartz, who came over from the Eagles, I think, and he became the defensive coordinator. He was the assistant coach of the year. They didn't show that one last night, but he was so they got 4 awards for the Browns. So that's like unheard of. That just doesn't ever happen.
Right.
It's always the Cowboys or the Rams or some big market team. Excuse me. And then Randy Gradishar, if you're an Ohio State fan, played linebacker back in the early 70s. Tremendous player at Ohio State. He's in a College Football Hall of Fame. Played for the Broncos for over 10 years. He made it to Canton, so he's in a Pro Football Hall of Fame. I was happy to see that because he's like one of my favorite players back in the day. And then Cam Hayward, who plays for the Steelers, unfortunately. But he's in Ohio State. His daddy is Craig Ironhead Hayward, the running back. He won the Walter Payton Man of the Year. So Ohio State did very well. The Browns did very well, and I was happy to see that. Now, Jason, I want to get your take on this. I'm not a Patrick Mahomes fan one way or the other or a Chiefs fan per se. But it gets to, they're going to talk about the most valuable player. And it goes to Lamar Jackson, which kind of everyone expected.
Right.
But Patrick Mahomes wasn't even nominated. He wasn't even one of the finalists. It's like, what? This is going to be his fourth Super Bowl in 5 years. He's not even nominated. Like, are you kidding?
So, I think he set such a high standard for himself, this year with all the drops, the struggles in the middle of the season. And I told everybody, I said, don't pay attention to the regular season. As long as they're in the playoffs, they're going to flip that switch. They've been in multiple Super Bowls, won multiple. It's their 4th time, making a run at it. So they may not have been as, urgent, I would say, as years passed. But once the playoffs started, you see that defense crank up. You saw Mahomes do what he did. He outplayed Lamar Jackson by a good margin. He's outplayed Josh Allen multiple times, 3 or 4 times throughout his career. So it's kind of like the Ohio State, Coach of the Year award. They just don't give it to him. They expect them to win. So I think that's where Mahomes has kind of set that standard and probably deserved to at least be one or two. If they take the playoffs into effect, he probably should have won the MVP.
Yeah, you would think. And Wildcat and I were talking about this before, too. He says, well, I think the other thing that works against him is he's won it before.
Right.
He's still very young. I mean, he's only like his 6th year in the league. He's, 28 years old?
He's going to win everything else.
Yeah, he's going to win a lot of awards. So I don't know if he was really consumed with winning it, but it just surprised me that he wasn't even a finalist. It's like, what?
Yeah, that's surprising.
The man, the myth, the legend has just walked in. Pat Perno, Mr. Beef O'Brady's, Mr. Lynn Haven City Commissioner has just showed up.
I'd like to apologize to the big fella in the lime green Jeep I cut off on the
Oh, did you watch any of the NFL award show? Any comments, thoughts?
No, I did not watch.
Patrick Mahomes was not a fool. We were just talking about Lamar Jackson won the
MVP,
the MVP, but Patrick Mahomes wasn't even a finalist, wasn't even in the Final Four. What would your thoughts on that be?
Based on the regular season,
yeah,
the Chiefs did some barely winning and not living up to their reputation almost all year,
right?
And they showed up in the playoffs for sure, and on the road for the first time. But you can't judge them on that. It's how you did in the regular season,
right?
So I think Lamar was worthy.
Travis Kelce turned it up in the playoffs
sure
the last 4 weeks. I mean, he's been dominant. If you look at his last 10 playoff games, I think he's averaging 10 catches a game and over 100 yards.
He's like a NASCAR driver. He only shows up in the last 60 laps.
Right. That's all he needs.
That's a good analogy. I never thought of it like that.
But with his size and his ability to kind of, play that small forward role, just get his body between him and the defender, he's almost impossible to cover within like 15 yards of the line of scrimmage.
Right.
And what a base, what a base to throw to.
Right.
He's got like a huge wingspan.
And he's not a 4'4" guy. He's a 4'6", maybe 4'7", but just his route running ability. And you can see this year he's been playing with a little nasty streak. The Baltimore Ravens kicker, he kicked his helmet right out of the way for Mahomes.
I tell you, if they didn't have that penalty, that would have been the greatest play of the year, man. It was Kelce, the way he caught the ball and threw the lateral backward.
Yeah, that was.
He threw a pass. He did not lateral.
I know. When he threw that, I was watching him going like, "What is he doing?" And then I saw that guy that came out of nowhere and caught that Tony
Kadarius
Toney, Florida Gator.
Yep.
And the thing that's crazy, as being from Cleveland, Ohio, both Kelce's grew up in Cleveland Heights, Ohio, which is about 15 minutes from where I was born and where I grew up till I was age 13. And Travis Kelce was a quarterback in high school, and he went to Cincinnati. And his brother, of course, is a lineman. But guys, we always talk about recruiting and all that. There's two guys who play at the University of Cincinnati. Mm-hmm. By no means a top 5 program in any stretch of the imagination, and they're probably both going to end up in the Hall of Fame.
They're probably top 5 at their position all time.
Yeah. I mean, just so we talk about recruiting and how many stars are after your name, and a lot of times that doesn't always mean anything. And
they did it being brothers. Jason put his neck out to get Travis back on the team.
Right. Travis is a little screw up back then, according to him.
And
he was in a little trouble back then.
Yeah. So I mean, credit to their parents or what turned on in their heads, but they're taking care of each other through it all.
I will say this: this is probably one of the most evenly matched Super Bowls that we've seen in a couple of years. I think just that defense from San Francisco, the weapons they have. Mahomes doesn't have nearly the weapons that Purdy's going to have on the field at this time. I mean, they got a weapon in every level, every spot on the field. McCaffrey, Aiyuk, their other receivers, Debo. I mean, they have a phenomenal offensive staff. Now you couple that with that defensive front, and then we're really going to see what Mahomes and them. The thing for Mahomes and them, their rush defense it hasn't been good this year, but their pass defense is top 10. So is San Francisco going to try to run the ball right at them, which for some reason Lamar Jackson and the Ravens didn't do, or are they going to try to take advantage of the weapons on the outside? So I think it's an interesting matchup, and I'm really excited to see that 49ers defense go against Mahomes in that front four.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good matchup. What's the over and under on that? Do you know?
I'm not sure. Yeah, I thought the spread was actually like 2.5, 3 at one point.
And who's favored?
I thought it was San Fran.
Coach James Hale show.
Let's see the line.
Oh, okay, great.
You know,
I'm glad to hear the call.
San Fran's a
Let me get you in
2-point
there
favorite.
for the commercial break, okay? Hang on.
and I mean, 2-point favorite. Let's listen to field goal.
Yeah.
That's pretty even in the pro game.
That's
man.
pretty even. Yeah.
Oh, we have a caller. Wildcat tells us who we got on the line here. Who we got with us?
LSU Jeff.
LSU.
hey.
What's going on, LSU, Jeff?
Well, the one pick that they had last night at that award shows that was definitely wrong, and you're going to disagree with me, is the coach of the year. Because if the Detroit coach didn't deserve it, I mean, I just don't even know. That Browns coach, I might even put him third if I would have voted on that category.
You know, as a lifelong Browns fan, I have to agree with you. You know, for most of the year, I thought Stefanski had a shot at it because they had, they played 5 quarterbacks and all these umpteen injuries. But look what Campbell did at Detroit. I really thought it was going to be Campbell. I really did. To be honest, I was surprised.
Look what D'Amico Ryans did at Houston. Nobody expected them to come in, rookie quarterback. They were like, oh, is this going to be a good spot for, C.J. Stroud to go and flourish? And look what that team did this year. They made the playoffs, and C.J. Stroud looked like one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the league with a rookie
And also,
coach.
talking about Houston, they also had Will Anderson was a defensive rookie of the year. So whoever was in charge of their draft, he should get a raise because he did a great job.
D'Amico Ryans is a superstar in the making. He's going to be a very, very good coach for many years. That's why I thought Alabama would make a stronger run at him, being with his ties with them. But I think the NFL game suits him. But having C.J. Stroud come in and kind of stabilize that organization is going to be huge for them.
Well, what did you think about the other picks on the award show?
I think so. Actually, I think they're pretty much straight on.
Yeah.
I wasn't really completely on with a Brock Purdy for MVP. I really thought that Lamar, he deserved it, and then there's Christian McCaffrey in the talks, and it was pretty much the other picks are pretty much straight on. It's almost like with the coach of the year thing, it's almost like the last thing that you do is what everybody's thinking. Like Houston came on, stole a division from Jacksonville, and then they won a playoff game.
Right.
But, 10, 11, 12 games into the season, I would have had the Miami coach as probably second or third in that, coaching category because they were rolling, and then the Bills just stole the division from them. And then we're sitting here looking at them like they lost to the Chiefs in the playoffs, Well, he doesn't deserve it, obviously, when it comes to the end. But, the Baltimore coach did good too. But this Sunday, I got the Chiefs winning, and that's the end of their dynasty in football. Next year, their division is going to be super tough, and this is it for the Chiefs. All right.
I heard yesterday somewhere that there's speculation Andy Reid's going to retire. What's your thoughts on that?
I almost feel like I don't think that he knows what he's doing.
Right.
But if the game goes a certain way and he gets a certain amount of pleasure out of it and doesn't feel like he's worn down, I think that he's going to keep on going for another year because Mahomes, still has another year on that contract, I believe, and and then go from there. But it's a possibility. We've been talking about Saban retiring for like 3 years straight, and then finally it happened. And it kind of hits you like, wait, we didn't know that was going to happen. Yeah, we did. We've been talking about it for 3 years every year because of the age. And I'm about a 50-50 shot on it. It could go either way, and it really kind of depends what the team does. And if he loses the Super Bowl, what do you think of the odds of him retiring on a Super Bowl loss?
I wouldn't think very high. I wouldn't think. And that was Mahomes being as young as he is and still being under contract. And
does he want to chase being the greatest coach ever, or being mentioned in that vein with Belichick and some of the old coaches? So
offensively, he's there, man.
Oh yeah. But does he want to stack them Super Bowls, or is winning another one good for him to ride out into the sunset on? So just depends on what he wants personally.
Let me run a dream scenario for you, and I do not like the Cowboys. There's no disclaimer in the front of it. I go to sleep at night, and I have dreams, and these dreams are so weird sometimes, and most of the time they end up true. And I had a dream, and don't ask me why I was dreaming about football, because I usually don't. But the dream was that Mahomes finishes out his contract with the Chiefs, becomes a free agent, and goes to the Cowboys.
Ooh.
Wow.
And that just sounds a little crazy, but I've heard crazier things.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me.
Would they take Andy Reid to be the coach? because with Mike McCarthy, I don't trust it.
Yeah, I don't trust McCarthy.
Yeah, McCarthy would be gone, and they bring somebody else in, maybe even Vrabel.
I think for the Cowboys, they need something like that. They tied their wagon to Dak, and Dak under pressure and in the playoffs just hasn't been the guy. I mean, they've sunk so much money into him. At some point, where do you say, hey, he's a good quarterback in the regular season. We need somebody that can win playoff games, and until they decide that. And, you know, Jerry Jones is a meddling owner, so the coaches have very little input on that anyway. But I just, with the current, you know, makeup of their organization, it's hard for me to see them win in the next 5 years.
All right, thanks for the call. We're up against the break here. Jason, what's going on down at Max Fitz?
So right now we're just creating our high school outreach program. So we're looking at brand ambassadors from each high school that we can teach about nutrition, supplementation, just give you the knowledge. That way you can go out and, you know, talk with your teammates and other people. So we're just trying to network that out and start educating these kids at a younger age on what to eat, how to eat it, what each type of food does for your body, and break it down really simple for them. But if you want, you can give us a call, 850-708-3051 at Pier Park, or we're in the Del Coronado Village on 23rd Street. It's 850-257-5780.
All right, Pat, what's going on at Beef Braised? I know you got some new menu items you're excited about.
Super
Bowl weekend. We have a great deal. If join Team O'Brady's, get on there and join Team O'Brady's. There's a great deal out there. I'm going to tell you, you can get your little coupon for 50 wings for $50, or 50 bonus wings for $40. That's all to go. But we're prepared. We're getting prepared for a huge to-go day on Sunday, and then fill up for the game.
And you got to order your wings ahead of time.
Yeah, it's best if you want that pickup time within an hour of the game, just to give us a call and get on the schedule. You know,
to many restaurants, you're not going to find dollar wings anywhere.
Yeah, it's a good deal. It's really a good deal. It's what we like to pass along on that day for folks. A lot of people are going to parties. A lot of people having a party at home. So come and get our wings, man. They're the best tailgate food there is, you know. Chicken wings.
All right.
$1.25 billion.
All right, very good. We'll be back in a second.
Yeah.
We're with more stuff.
$1.25 billion.
ESPN Northwest Florida is your exclusive radio home for Super Bowl 58.
A rocket to the right side, and the Chiefs strike first.
It's the defending champion Kansas City Chiefs versus the San Francisco 49ers.
The 49ers are going back to the Super Bowl.
Listen in a rich audio experience live from Las Vegas. Coverage begins at 1, kickoff 5:30 on your home for Super Bowl 58, ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with ESPN Northwest Florida. Here is your weather forecast on this Friday morning. As we head into this afternoon and evening, some clouds and a high of 66 with a gentle breeze out of the south-southeast around 9 miles per hour. For tonight, mostly clouds and a low near 60. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy throughout the day with slight fog in the evening and a high around 67. This weather forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Visit the newly remodeled Mid-South Lumber Hardware and Feed Store in Youngstown. They have a full line of plumbing, electrical, hardware, and tools for your DIY home projects, as well as lumber and animal feed. Now offering not only baby chicks and a full line of poultry supplies, but also bunnies and parakeets. They also carry a wide selection of Duplin wines and gourmet products, so you don't have to drive to the beach. Come see us at Mid-South Lumber on Highway 231 in Youngstown.
There's nothing more satisfying than helping you find the perfect vehicle. And this month, find something you love at just 2.99% APR on our most popular models, plus 90 days until you make your first payment. Like the 2024 Camry with stylish good looks and impressive performance. Or the 2024 Corolla, built for comfort and style with top-notch tech. Panama City Toyota, for over 30 years, where relationships are born.
Offer expires March 4th. For details, visit PanamaCityToyota.com.
Kitchen Designs in Panama City Beach and Santa Rosa Beach want to help you make your dream kitchen a reality in 2024. Family owned and operated for over 20 years, they offer cabinets, countertops, flooring, and tile. Their cash and carry program offers shaker white cabinets available the very next day. Call Kitchen Designs to make your dream come true. 850-775-4150.
It's the Coach James Hale Show.
Go nuts.
Live from the J. Michael Studio on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
And we're back. We're going to talk a little NFL. We got started the day on NFL. We're going to continue with this.
Just to make James mad.
Yeah, just to make James mad. 'Cause he would never
the
do
most
this.
NFL I heard about.
It's going to be the least Alabama update ever.
There may not be an Alabama update. Anyway, the caller was talking. We were talking about the NFL and the picks and the awards and such. And he mentioned coaching. And if you follow the NFL at all, you know these following names: Bill Belichick, Pete Carroll, Mike Vrabel. All were very successful head coaches. Obviously, Belichick the most. But they all got let go for various reasons, and none of them were picked up. And there were multiple openings all over the league, and none of those three were able to find a job. So, Pat, what's your take on that? What are your thoughts on that?
You know, I said it at the break. There's going to be that's a lot of open chairs for announcing this year. You know, you got to put somebody like Belichick. You know, Pete Carroll. You know, they got someone. Pete's staying in the system at Seattle, though. They said he's going to be.
Oh, one of those analysts or something.
Oh well, yeah, he's moving upstairs. They say, but that doesn't mean that he's not going to be in a booth at some point either. Right. You know, but I was surprised that Vrabel didn't take Belichick's place in New England. I thought he was. I thought it was the natural succession.
I did too. So he played there. It's like, why would you not take him?
I can see why Belichick didn't get a job. Belichick's going to want to come in and have total control. He wants to be the GM. He wants to, be director of player personnel. He wants to pick every guy.
Too.
And, these owners nowadays, they don't want to give up that much control. And some of this old school stuff that Belichick did, kind of bullying the media, stuff like that, probably left him a little unattractive for candidates this time around. I was surprised at Vrabel. Vrabel's a young guy, still had a lot of success with Tennessee without a lot of talent. I mean, they went with Tannehill.
Coach of the year like 2 years ago.
Yeah, and it's not like they had major, outside weapons or some offensive, explosive team. They were just a hard-nosed, physical, run-first football team that played really good defense. So those are the things for me that the Dallas Cowboys should be looking at. I mean, they need some toughness. I mean, they got all the skill position players in the world. Dak, when he's not under pressure, is a very good quarterback. They need somebody that can get in there and make that team a little tougher, where they're not soft, where they can play in the playoff games and these more important games. Because let's be honest, Dallas has a lot of talent. They just choke. I mean, they just flat out choke every single year.
How good is CeeDee Lamb, man?
Awesome. I mean,
there's your Alabama update right there.
Right.
Well, it's Oklahoma.
Man,
well, Jalen Hurts.
That man is a bad boy.
Yeah, he's
6'3", 6'4", 4'4", 40. I mean, the kid's just. When you look at a receiver, say that's what God intended him to be.
Yeah. He's something else, man.
Yeah, he's good. And I think the other thing I mentioned when you were speaking, I think the other thing that works against Belichick is the fact he's 72 years old. So do you want to invest your $11 million to hire a guy that realistically may only be there 2-3 years? Because at some point you're 72 years old. You've won 6 Super Bowls. What worlds do you have left to conquer? I think that's part of it too.
Pete Carroll's same age.
Yeah, and Pete Carroll as well.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the perfect fit for Belichick would have been Dallas Cowboys minus Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones is not going to give up that much power.
Could you imagine Jerry and Belichick in the same building? If
him and Jimmy Johnson could get along while he's winning Super Bowls, that's not going to work.
Atlanta took a hard look at Belichick.
Yeah, they did.
Mm-hmm.
I was more surprised that he didn't end up somewhere like either Atlanta or with Dallas or something. Hiring McCarthy again just doesn't make any sense to me. Like, what does he do? To me, he costs his team 7 to 10 points a game just on bad clock management.
Remember his end of the game against those 49ers a couple years ago?
It's like a 10-year-old out there playing a video game sometimes. His time management, his play calling, it's unbelievable he has a job.
You're right on, and it was totally exposed in the playoffs,
right?
Man.
Yeah. I don't get it either. I don't.
But that's Jerry Jones wanting to have control. It's not, hey, who can I get as the best coach? Because he ran off Jimmy Johnson. He ran off Parcells. I mean, those guys he ran off Barry Switzer. All three of those guys won Super Bowls. So he's got a guy now that he can put his thumb on and say, do what I say. And I just don't see that working. Dak needs a different coach or a different team. To me, just a fresh face, fresh start, because I think Dak has some physical tools. Let's
Yeah, he does.
He doesn't
But the
handle
Cowboys
the pressure.
don't need more of the same.
No,
they don't need more of the same.
This reminds me a little bit when Andy Dalton was with the Cincinnati Bengals. Phenomenal regular season guy, made a couple Pro Bowls, but when it came to the playoffs, it was terrible. And I was like, at that point, you got to move on. If you're not trying to win,
is he on the Cowboys? Is he the backup?
He was one.
I think he was.
Yeah.
Whether he is now, I don't know, but I think he was. And speaking of 72-year-olds who have moved on to other jobs, the other big news, James Hale was here. He'd probably talk about this for half the show. Nick Saban is going to work for ESPN on game day. What are you guys' thoughts on that?
Oh.
Jason, you can go first if you want.
Do I want to make a lot of Alabama fans mad right now? I love Nick Saban. I think Nick Saban is one of the best coaches. If you listen to him, I mean, the knowledge he has. I mean, he's usually a straight shooter. You remember after the Ohio State-Georgia game, he said Ohio State would be here if it wasn't that blown call.
Right.
He's talking about the SEC team, too. I think it'll be great. I think ESPN has too much influence over the college football game, the playoff committee stuff. So I'm not a big fan of stacking more SEC guys in those broadcasts, but I think he's going to do phenomenal. I love Nick Saban. I think he's a great ambassador for the game. I think he's an honest guy, and I think he's going to do wonders. Urban Meyer was great in that role. You know, Pete Carroll, those guys that come back, they're really good at the role because they're able to see things that, as your casual fan, you don't really notice, and they can break it down with X's and O's. So he's going to be a great addition. I think it's a great fit.
Pat,
I think it's great for Coach Saban. I'm just smiling because who was the fellow for he played at Maryland and he was an announcer and he was talking about how Georgia was taking over the SEC, and then they zoomed in on Saban's eyes.
Oh, that was Pollock.
Yeah, it was Pollock. That's right.
Notice he's not around anymore.
Exactly. That's what I was just thinking.
Yeah.
Coach Saban he had that eye of just like, what are you talking about at that particular time? Now
that took big
now he's
to
gonna
say that.
now he's going to be in the chair, you know. So
that's when he actually said the thing about the Ohio State and Marvin Harrison. He said, "Well, if they would have called the thing on the end zone correctly, they wouldn't even be here." So you could tell he got under Saban's skin a little bit.
Yeah.
And Pollock knows what he's doing. He's a smart guy.
He's a great guy.
Yeah, he's a really good
dad. He's come around here with his kid before, so he's really, really good, cool dude. But I couldn't help but think, you know, zooming in on his eye, he's got to lay off the poker hand of his. But he's going to be great for a game day, and what we were talking about, you know, he's perfect fit. So
speaking of game day, is Lee Corso? Is he still going to be on there? Is he still going to be doing?
They'll probably bring him out to put the
heads on the mascot thing.
I'll be honest, and I think Lee Corso is a great guy. And I mean, but what they're doing to him is, to me, sad. I mean,
it is.
He can't form a
agree.
sentence. You know, at some point, we got to gracefully move on and bring Lee in every now and then on big games to make us pick. You know what I'm saying? Just because he has been such a big part of college football, but for him to sit there segment after segment and try to spit out something that's coherent, just to me is sad at this point.
Yeah, but when I watch him, I say, what would you think if that was your father or your grandfather?
Yeah.
Would you want to have him exposed to that? You know, we all know he's getting up in age. He's had health issues. You know, give a guy a little dignity. You know,
not to get political. The same thing we see with Biden. I mean, he stumbles through a 3-second interview, and you're like, well, "This is our president." But at some point, people have to take control within that family and be like, "Hey, I want what's best for him. Maybe not what's best for you guys over here that are controlling him." Because that's just not a healthy situation at all.
I agree.
He's iconic to me because he was a 60-minute man at Florida State. And he played quarterback and linebacker.
Right.
He never left the field, man.
That's a hard combo there. There ain't many of those out there.
Isn't that something though? You know,
I played corner and quarterback, but linebacker.
No, he played linebacker and quarterback.
Not many coaches would be like, "Hey, 16, get in there and linebacker."
Yeah. And
not very often.
Man.
He must not have been a good quarterback, I'll be honest.
He was tough.
No, I'm kidding.
Tough. That was a different game, you know.
Exactly.
But you know, Coach Corso, he's just, you know, he made that niche, you know, and they keep giving it's his little segment. So
Right.
Yeah. As long as he can have it.
When we come back, we're going to do the Florida State update. We'll have Pat talk about his Florida State experiences here. Pat, give us again.
Might get cut off.
I might want to call Tony Ford and ask him.
Talk about your 10. Don't you have something called 10 for 10? What's all that about?
It's our 10 for 10 menu. Started on Monday. We have 7 new items on the menu, and as well as 3 of our traditional items. We've reduced them all to $10. Traditional Tampa Cubans selling like crazy. We have a 1985 salad, an antipasto salad that we originally served in our original menu. A toasted Italian sub. We've got these crispy fried chicken mashed potato bowl, Asian rice bowl.
I'm hungry already.
Yeah,
this is
good
good.
stuff.
I'll be right back.
Did you bring samples?
We got the barbecued pork barbecue pork mac and cheese bowl.
Ooh,
yeah, it's good for you. No cholesterol in it at all.
Yeah.
So.
And Wildcat, now that you got Valentine's Day coming up, what about getting Valentine's for your loved one?
David Adamson's Jewelry, right out there in the same neck of the woods as the restaurant is, and all you got to do is go out there. They're open from 10 o'clock to 6 out on Highway 77, Ohio Avenue. David Adamson Jewelry repair. They design jewelry, they fix stuff, and of course they have quite a selection of beautiful get you out of the doghouse items.
When you're out there on the 13th getting your jewelry for your loved one, don't forget to swing by Beef O'Brady's. The Hope Project's having a bake sale, and they're going to have all kind of sweets.
That's
Yep.
event.
Yeah, the Hope Project was on the other day, right? And they're gonna do a bake sale from 4 to 7. We're donating a portion of our sales. They're bringing out 2 of their little horses, Dolly and Roxy. So
and that's on the 13th.
That's on the Tuesday the 13th, and that's our kid night. So they wanted the kids to enjoy something. 4 to 7 will be a great bake sale, and they'll be selling stuff. It's all Valentine's themed and whatnot. So it's all good stuff.
All right, and we'll be back shortly with the FSU update.
ESPN Northwest Florida. We're taking the inside drive.
Did you know that the Super Bowl halftime performers do not actually get paid? David did. I didn't know that.
Just recently I figured that out, and that's basically because of all the promotion that they get out of it.
Yes, it's what they're getting paid is that brand equity and brand awareness. Apple Music pays the NFL $50 million.
Join Ryan Mulvey.
Thank you very little.
Middays 11 to 1 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Turf Pro Lawn and Pest Control. They take pride in caring for their customers' property by providing lawn and whole house pest control. Whether you have roaches or any other unwanted bugs in your home, Turf Pro has you covered. Or if your lawn needs weed control, fertilize, insect control, Turf Pro has you covered by providing custom treatments to meet your property's needs. No property is the same, so why should it be treated that way? Turf Pro, where the blue and yellow trucks make your lawn green. Call 850-890-5820.
In the jewelry business, there is no substitute for experience. David Adamson has over 46 years of experience, 32 of those in Lynn Haven. Designing and creating fine jewelry is more than a job for David, it's a joy. If you're looking for a spectacular jewelry design that says you, or perhaps you need your jewelry repaired, look no further than David Adamson Designer Jewelry. All work is done in-house and always to your complete satisfaction. Stop in today at David Adamson Designer Jewelry, 830 Ohio Avenue in Lynn Haven. They're on Facebook and at tcjeweler.com.
Kitchen Designs in Panama City Beach and Santa Rosa Beach want to help you make your dream kitchen a reality in 2024. Family owned and operated for over 20 years, they offer cabinets, countertops, flooring, and tile. Their cash and carry program offers Shaker White cabinets available the very next day. Call Kitchen Designs to make your dream come true. 850-775-4150.
The Coach James Hale Show is live and local from the J. Michaels studio.
Boss, I got good news and bad news. Whoa, what's the bad news? Your hat's on fire. What?
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Florida State. Woo!
Go Noles.
Yeah, go Noles.
They're going to be ranked 13th this year, watch.
We'll move up the ladder.
Yeah.
Save that for another segment. We'll be in about 10 minutes, 15 minutes or so. I've got some updates for men and women basketball for Florida State. They're kind of about the middle of the pack in the ACC. They're not doing terrible. They're not doing as well as maybe the men have done in the past with
two different teams.
But, that's kind of how it goes. The men are 13-9 currently. They've got 3 games coming up. Saturday they're playing against Virginia, who's always a very formidable opponent, very good program, at home. Then on Tuesday they're playing against Virginia Tech. And then the following Saturday, the 17th, they got the Dukies. They got to play Duke, and that's always got your hands full with them. That's a home game, fortunately. A little bit easier than playing down in Cameron Indoor Arena. But, Leonard Hamilton's a very good coach. I think they'll probably still make the playoffs. They're 13. They're in like the middle of the ACC. And I think in the ACC, everybody makes the tournament. The ACC tournament, I think, except like the last team, I think is left out, but everybody else makes it. So they're 13, and like I say, they're 13-9. They're not doing as well as they probably wanted to, but they're still hanging in there. The women are doing a little bit better, but similar. They're about the 5th or 6th in the ACC. They won a game last night against Pitt, 76-60 at home. They're 17-7 now. They've got a real big one coming up on Sunday. They got to play Notre Dame. Ooh. And if you know anything about women's college basketball, Notre Dame is one of the elites, one of the top 5-6 programs. Year in and year out with UConn and Tennessee, LSU, South Carolina, and such. So that they'll have their hands full there. And then after that, they play Wake Forest on next Thursday. So they each got about 3 games coming up here in the next week or two, some big games. Then, of course, they got baseball season. Excuse me. Baseball season is going to be kicking off here. Link Jarrett, as Pat so kindly reminded us, is now the coach there. It was Mike Martin. And you said, I don't know if you talked, I know you told us, but we might have been off the air. You said you had some interaction with Mike Martin playing golf or something. Tell us about that.
Well, we played in a few. Sean Allen was the regional director for the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, and they used to hold a local golf tournament here. And if you won the local golf tournament, you had to go to Tallahassee to play in the regional golf tournament at Golden Eagle. And if you won the regional golf tournament, you got to go to TPC Sawgrass and play in their national golf tournament and represent this region of the state. There was like Ponte Vedra? Yeah. Nice place. So we actually had a team and this was a few years back, and we had a team that we won the local tournament, and we went over to Tallahassee, and we're lined up to play in the regional tournament, and like we look over and we're all getting talked to about going out and going to our holes and playing, and there's Mike Martin and Kenny Knox. Kenny Knox was a PGA golfer, but he's long retired, and they live at Golden Eagle, and they were one of the teams. And this kind of tournament, it was scramble golf, but they had a scorekeeper. Someone came out and watched you.
Oh, really?
And
they don't trust y'all.
No, he had your scorecard. So this was down to like playing golf, But we had a fellow named Jason Wilhite, local guy with Tico Gas. He played at Alabama golf, and he played Nike Tour for a little while, but he worked for Tico Gas. And Mike McGuire, who's with Tico Gas, was really, really great, and it was an honor to play with those guys. But we all yucked it up in the clubhouse and had a good time. They fed us, and it was a good day.
Right.
So, and FCA still is a great organization.
Yeah, definitely. I know Bobby Bowden was highly.
Big time.
FCA. So.
Big time. And we always seem to come back to this. Excuse me, when we talk about FSU, but I think it's a very relevant thing. Pat, you're the politician here. You may have more insight. May more have more knowledge than the common, ordinary people. What's FSU's fate going to be? Are they going to stay in the ACC, SEC, Big Ten? What do you hear? What do you know that the rest of us maybe don't know?
I just don't know why we're what we're doing, we're going out on a limb, but I think we know something.
I think
our lawyers have lured up a good way, and we're going at the ACC to get off on to get off and get out. On some point in a litigious atmosphere. So we'll see what happens. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a judge. I'm not a politician.
But whatever lawyers they hired, they found some dirt on the ACC.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Some
thinking.
of the interactions that they've talked about, lying about the contract, and when had to sign it, how they could re-up on it. So there's some wiggle room right there that I think is going to let Florida State, Clemson, those guys out of that contract. The main thing is they're paying maybe half what the SEC and Big Ten are paying out. And when you look at the college landscape and where we're going with the super conferences and the haves and have-nots, if you're not making $80 to $90 million a year in revenue from your conference, you're going to fall behind. So if I'm making 40 and you're making 80 over 10 years, that's $400 million right there.
And that's why Florida State got in, because they were like, hey, we're at this point where we're getting good money from bowls and whatnot.
Right.
But if we join this conference, we're going to continue to get it through sharing.
But nobody really foresaw what was about to happen with the super conferences. It happened so fast. I mean, with Washington and them leaving the, Texas, Oklahoma. Who thought Texas, Oklahoma was going to leave the Big 12 for the SEC? That was pretty shocking. But once those dominoes fell, you then see the Washington, Oregon, USC, UCLA. So now these conferences, and now the SEC, Big Ten, if you haven't really heard, have formed an advisory committee to kind of walk through the next steps of what's going to become basically the super conference.
All right. So here's my question. I think we all can agree that FSU is going to leave the ACC. I think that's kind of a given. But where do you think they're going to land? Where are they going to end up?
Oh, God.
In your opinion?
It's either Big Ten or SEC,
right?
And I just don't know how we're going to do playing in the snow.
I personally, even if the money was just a little bit better, would want to be in the SEC. Regionally, it's much better. I mean, with baseball being a huge part of FSU, you don't want to be traveling to Michigan in March and softball. These warm weather, spring types.
We're in the South. Stay in the South.
Yeah, we both know what the weather's like in the spring in Ohio and up in Big Ten country, and that's not softball playing.
And there's a reason that our baseball
playing.
teams aren't as good. I mean, we can't play as year round. I mean, we have to start in late March, early April. We don't even get into our season until about June. We're always traveling to Florida in that first month or 2 months of the year just to get games in because it's snowing and ice. So, and just traveling into Michigan, Ohio, and Penn State in December for a football game is going to be real tough sledding. We've seen LSU go up to Wisconsin and lose to a 6-6 team when they had all the talent in the world. It's just a different type of game.
And the Big Ten schedule is going to schedule us going up there, and they're going to be coming down here.
Not only that, you're going to be traveling to the West Coast with USC, Oregon, and those trips right there are not going to be easy. So, logistically, I think Florida State makes sense in the SEC. Selfishly, as a fan, I want to see Florida State, Ohio State. I want to see Florida State, Michigan. I want to see
those are good games too.
And if Notre Dame can come along with them, I think that would be the best pairing. Would be Notre Dame, Florida State.
As long as they're all in September,
right?
And we haven't really talked about Notre Dame very much, but I talked about this the other day. I don't see any scenario where Notre Dame's not going to expect to be in the playoffs every year.
Right.
So are they going to be on their own, be an independent agent just kind of circling on their own, or are they going to join a league? What are they going to do? Well,
they got TV.
Where do you see them
their own contract?
I think that they have to force them to join a conference. I think it's completely unfair.
I think too.
I mean,
it's only right.
When you play a conference that has, LSU, Florida, Alabama, Georgia in it, and then you go independent and you can handpick your games.
Right. Hey, we're playing Air Force and Wake Forest this year.
And Navy and Army, and maybe a Big Ten team every now and then there. But it's such a huge advantage for them, and I don't see why we would put up with that.
Yeah.
They used to play Miami every year.
Yeah, they did.
Florida State every now and then.
Yeah. Catholics versus convicts. That was a great.
They played them every year.
It was a great series for a long time. It really was.
Yeah.
Well, this FSU update was brought to you by Newbies, and if you've ever been to Panama City Beach, you've been to Newbies. It's a great place to be. They had some. Not hurricane damage, tornado damage about a month ago. That's all taken care of. I understand now they're back open for business. Things are going strong. If you've ever been down here, you've probably spent some time there with Ed Strickland driving the bus. Glenn Manley is a regular down there too. I wish Glenn was here. We could talk about his experiences at newbies.
John and Charlotte are awesome people.
Oh, yeah, they are.
They really are.
John's one of the most competitive guys I've ever met.
Yeah,
you can tell why.
Johnny McVay.
Yeah, John McVay. If you've never met him, he played for the Hurricanes. He was now he didn't just play; he was the captain for the
Jason,
Hurricanes.
you could skip a workout and hang out with Johnny because he'll beat you up.
Oh, I know. Trust me, I played racquetball with him. He was diving for balls.
There ain't a more fierce competitor than that guy.
Exactly. Now I know why he played high level and succeeded the way he did.
He loves the Hurricanes too, man. He put it all on the
State,
field,
which means he loves Charlotte.
Florida State. He loves Charlotte.
Because he played for Miami, but he's a big Florida State.
He's
supporter.
a big Florida State fan, but he put it out there for the Canes.
Right,
man.
they're really good people. Though.
Yeah, they are.
Oh, you can't beat them.
Yeah, they do a great job donating money for causes and such. Yeah, they. Big part of the community.
You know, they just love you and take you in when you're hanging out with them, too.
Right.
I never expected...
Might get headbutted every now and then. Depending on if some more hurricanes are around.
Yeah. They're fun.
And when we come back, we're going to talk about Jason Kovaleski's favorite person, Ward Manuel. So we'll see what's going on with him.
ESPN Northwest Florida is your exclusive radio home for Super Bowl 58.
A rocket to the right side, and the Chiefs strike first.
It's the defending champion Kansas City Chiefs versus the San Francisco 49ers.
The 49ers are going back to the Super Bowl.
Listen in a rich audio experience live from Las Vegas. Coverage begins at 1, kickoff 5:30 on your home for Super Bowl 58, ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with ESPN Northwest Florida. Here is your weather forecast on this Friday morning. As we head into this afternoon and evening, some clouds and a high of 66 with a gentle breeze out of the south-southeast around 9 miles per hour. For tonight, mostly clouds and a low near 60. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy throughout the day with slight fog in the evening and a high around 67. This weather forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Hey there, folks. Looking for a place that feels like home right in the heart of Panama City? Well, look no further than Charlie Corm's place at their new location on 15th Street. Charlie Corm's is not just a place, it's an experience. Imagine cozy corners, friendly faces, and the aroma of delicious dishes that'll make your taste buds dance. From sunrise breakfast to late night bites, Charlie Corm's on 15th Street has it all. Charlie Corm's place on 15th Street is now offering exclusive weekday lunch specials. Visit Charlie Corm's place on 15th Street. Look for the giant mural.
Ellis Agency Insurance has been serving Panama City and Bay County for years. They offer a full line of affordable insurance coverage of all types. Many people are attracted to Ellis Agency Insurance because of their friendly, knowledgeable staff. Call independent agent Johnny Ellis for a true comparison of your personal or business insurance. Ellis Agency Insurance at the Old Cullen Insurance location, 1134 Harrison Avenue, across from Dandy Donuts and Deli. Call 763-1627.
Welcome to It's the Coach James Hale Show.
But I believe diversity is an old wooden ship that was used during the Civil War era.
Live from the J. Michael Studio, 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Boys of Summer, back with the Eagles. Now, as most of you are probably aware, the people listening out there, next year we'll have the 12-team college football playoff, and that's run by a committee. And the committee isn't forever. I think it rotates every 2-3 years. Excuse me. Well, it just rotated. Not all of them, but some of them. The one that was the most interesting to me, and being an Ohio State person, I had to read it twice because I couldn't believe it was true. I couldn't believe what I was reading. The person who is now in charge of the college football playoffs for 2024 and 25 is Ward Manuel. Now, that name may not mean a lot to you, but he's the athletic director at the University of Michigan, okay? Now, I don't know if you've ever seen the old cartoons like with the chicken, with the fox in the hen house.
Right.
That's kind of what this reminds me. You just let the fox into the hen house here. You got a guy who is in charge of the program that's accused, I'm using the word accused, Eddie, okay? Accused.
He's guilty of. I'm going to use a different word.
Yeah. Of the most massive cheating scandal in the history of NCAA football. Now, does that mean that he had anything to do with it? No, I don't think he did. But it's just kind of ironic, or I don't even know the right word, that you have that guy in charge of the selection committee for the college football playoffs. So what are your guys' thoughts on it? Jason, I know you have strong thoughts on this.
Well, like you said, I mean, they were involved in one of the biggest cheating scandals in college football history. I mean, the fact that they were able to play in the playoffs to all of us was actually laughable with the evidence they had, but they didn't want to punish them before the investigation finished up. But
sat out 7 games.
To sit here and act like these guys didn't know. I mean, there was a guy on the sidelines, stealing signs, holding up signs, pointing in the direction. Everybody could see what was going on.
Right.
To act like Jim Harbaugh didn't know that a guy was standing next to his coordinators, relaying calls, and he was calling the offense and defense. And I tried to tell everybody that he must be the most talented coordinator in the history of the game because he was calling the offense and defense. And then to have Ward Manuel and the situation, Michigan fans wanted Ward Manuel fired for the way he handled Harbaugh. Every year Harbaugh goes interviews for a NFL job, kind of holds the recruiting hostage because they don't know if he's coming back now.
2 years ago, he interviewed for the Vikings on a National Signing Day.
Now you know why. Wow. Because he knew the scandal was coming, and there was no way around it. I mean, they were getting notice of allegations almost like a year and a half ago. So, but to have that guy, Ward Manuel, that oversaw this entire mess, now oversee the entire college football playoff selection is an absolute joke. I mean, it's an upside-down world. I don't know what we're doing here. You cheated. You were proven that the Big Ten had to step in and suspend your coach at the end of the year, and now you're under investigation for 6 level 1 violations, which happened under your watch, and they say, hey, here's the college football playoff. It makes no sense to me.
And here's the thing. I've said this before. I'm going to say it again now. And the thing that's laughable to me as an Ohio State fan, as just a college football fan, is Michigan was talking so tough. They were so holier than thou when the NCAA, or not, let me back up, when the Big Ten was going to suspend Harbaugh. We're going to fight this. We're going to go to court. We're going to have our day in court. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. No stone unturned. We're going to fight this. We're not going to go quietly into that good night.
And then the NCAA sent them the evidence.
Then they got the information. All right, my bad.
We'll take the penalty.
Yeah, what you said. Now, I'm sorry, people. You don't do that unless you know that they got something on you. Your coach doesn't ask for immunity unless he's guilty. If you didn't do anything wrong, why were you seeking immunity?
And one of the points that people are missing, if you're not employed by the NCAA or in college, you don't have to cooperate with the investigation. You're no longer under that NCAA umbrella. So every single person that was involved, the defensive coordinator, Jay Harbaugh, Jim Harbaugh, the strength coach, everybody that had knowledge is gone. You're not going to retain.
You won't hear from them again.
You'll never hear from them again. That's why I don't think they're going to get punished, because at some point the NCAA is not going to be around.
So
Tennessee's suing them.
So you can't prove anything.
They can't interview them. They have no subpoena power. So that's been always the problem with the investigation of the NCAA. They don't have subpoena power. They can't say, hey, you're under penalty of perjury if you lied to me. Now they can say, okay, you lied. This was an inconsistent statement, and hit you with a lack of institutional control. But they have no subpoena power to be able to, subpoena witnesses and make them talk to you. So they're really a toothless organization, and I think their time's limited.
So this gentleman is over the 12-team playoff. Is that is that NCAA put it in?
No, it's not.
Right. Yeah. Okay. The college football playoffs, it's an entire separate entity itself.
See, that's what the argument was. Why didn't NCAA just ban Michigan? Well, because they don't have any control over that playoff committee per se.
And there was a rule that without finishing the investigation, they couldn't suspend them predeterminedly. So that's why the Big Ten stepped in, because all 12 teams outside of Michigan came and said, this is the evidence, we have them on camera, they're stealing our signs, this, that. Right. So the Big Ten said, we got to do something. That's why he got that 3-game suspension at the end of the year, which has nothing to do with what the NCAA is going to do to him. That's a whole separate investigation that's coming down the pipe. But with all the coaches gone, with everything, they're not going to be able to talk to them. I don't know what's going to happen with that.
Yeah, like I've said before, and we've both said before.
So this 12-team, the 12-team playoff committee, is it tied into ESPN, is it tied into networks? Is it?
Oh, for sure. Fox, ESPN. I mean, they're going to be running those. And Fox is trying to negotiate now to get more access in. Because if you've looked at what the Big Ten and SEC did as far as their advisory committee, that was half what they were talking about, was access, who's going to be covering the games, Fox or ESPN. So there's a whole lot of stuff that's coming out of that. All this is kind of connected. So
Mr. Manuel's going to oversee the persuading.
Right. But he recuses himself if Michigan's in the playoff conversation, which they won't be. I'll go ahead and let everybody in on the secret. They ain't going to be.
Yeah. I just got my thought back. I lost my train of thought.
But I don't want him making decisions on Ohio State. With the way that rivalry has heated up over the last 2-3 years with the cheating accusations, the accusations that Ryan Day hired his brother in a personal firm, which was a complete lie. They used the computer to steal Michigan. That was a complete lie. So for him to have any type of input on whether Ohio State makes the playoffs or not, to me, that's where I'm disappointed.
Yeah. All those coaches leaving and bailing and going to the NFL, that gets them out of the crosshairs. But I think the University of Michigan as an institution is going to get clobbered. And the one they're going to get is going to be lack of institutional control. Because as we've talked about, it's not just the cheating thing. That's not just it. It's the stuff during COVID.
Right.
That's what he got suspended for the first time. It wasn't the cheating. It was the...
And if people weren't up to date on that, they were actually having visits to campus with recruits.
It wasn't a hamburger. It wasn't a hamburger, people.
No, they were practicing during COVID, which they weren't allowed to do. I mean, they were having in-person meetings. That was going against university rules too. So Harbaugh's always kind of played in that gray area a little bit, and this one really disappointed. I had a lot of respect for Harbaugh as a coach coming into this last year, but with everything I found, the cheating, the level that you went to that no other school's doing, I know all the Michigan fans.
And here's the thing too. I always, I coached and taught and been a teacher and a parent and a foster parent and adoptive parent, been in with just about every kind of personality there is to deal with. What's the rationale? Why would Michigan's quarterback come out and say, before they ever played the national championship game, we had to cheat to catch up to Ohio State. We had to do this. Why would you say that? What's your motivation to say that?
The funny thing about that whole thing is he said that when he wasn't even on the team. It was 2019. He wasn't at Michigan yet. 2020, they opted out. So he said that before anybody had ever, he was even on the team, so he had no knowledge of that. So that was just a made-up scenario that they've been throwing out to kind of deflect off what they're doing.
Right.
So he wasn't even on the team. So how would he know if Ohio State was cheating or not?
Yeah.
And to act like, we're cheating now because of what they did when I wasn't even on the team, had no knowledge of, just showed that he's guilty.
Right.
And he knew about it.
Yeah. Right. And to double down what you say, I agree 1,000,000% because I've been on those sidelines. There's no way. It's impossible. Coaches are type A personalities. They're control freaks. They want to know why is he here? Why is he here? There's no way. It's impossible that Jim Harbaugh didn't know that Connor Stalions was there. It's a top 5 program. Why is everybody looking at this guy who's got the laminated sheet with all the calls on it?
Right.
Where'd that guy come from?
Buddy, they had to beat Ohio State at some point. They were doing everything they could to do it.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
And it's incomprehensible that the defensive coordinator didn't know, that the offensive coordinator, they all knew. Come on.
Look at the narrative on Jim Harbaugh up to 2021. He was 1-5 against Ohio State. He was, I think, 2-10 against top 10 teams. Right. Everybody wanted him fired. And then 2021, he hired Stalions. Stalions had no football knowledge. He wasn't some football guy. He was in the military. He was a code breaker or whatever. He was a code breaker in the military.
Intelligence guy.
Right. So they hired him in 2021. From 2021 to 2023, they were like 22-11 against the spread. So the NCAA's institution on gambling and ethics is the one that actually flagged their games because they went from being like 9-18 against the spread to 22-2 or 12 without any influx of coaching, talent, anything. They didn't change anything. They just brought this guy Stalions in that had nothing to do with football. He wasn't an X and O's guy. He was just a code debreaker. And then as we know, C.J. Stroud's one of the best quarterbacks. They shut him down. Like, that's impossible, you know what I mean? And just the games after that, you can see their players pointing what direction the play was going, whether they had a sign that said run or pass on the sidelines. I mean, it was almost like an episode of, like, the Pink Panther. It was done so badly and out in the open. It was like, there's no way.
Dog bite.
Right. But I was like, this is so obvious.
Yep.
It's almost like they're making a mockery out of everybody, and they want to get caught because it was so stupid. But here we are. It's 2024. I don't put anything past anybody at this point.
Right. Well, we're gonna be talking to Jeff Spiegel here in about a minute or two. Jason, what else is going on at Max Fit here?
Well, we got a free sample bar, so you can come in, try any products for free, proteins, amino acids, pre-workout. So we like people to try stuff before they buy them. That way they don't get up to the house and be like, hey, this guy lied to me. We got those at both stores. We do have the InBody 570 that tracks results. It's a body composition analyzer, so we use that for free for our customers. So you can come in, check your body fat, your skeletal muscle, and really start doing that every 2 to 3 weeks to try your results. But we're located in Pier Park North and on 23rd Street next to the Zeki's.
And what's that stuff that Manly and Wildcats swear to? That juice that they take?
Joint juice.
The fountain of youth juice?
Yeah. If you got joint pain, this is one of the best chondrite and MSM products on the market. It's a liquid, so it's more readily absorbed by the body. But if you have any arthritis or joint pain, it is phenomenal. It's our best-selling product.
Okay, there you go. All right, back with Jeff Spiegel when we come back.
ESPN Northwest Florida is your exclusive radio home for Super Bowl 58.
A rocket to the right side, and the Chiefs strike first.
It's the defending champion Kansas City Chiefs versus the San Francisco 49ers.
The 49ers are going back to the Super Bowl.
Listen in a rich audio experience live from Las Vegas. Coverage begins at 1, kickoff 5:30 on your home for Super Bowl 58, ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with ESPN Northwest Florida. Here is your weather forecast on this Friday morning. As we head into this afternoon and evening, some clouds and a high of 66 with a gentle breeze out of the south-southeast around 9 miles per hour. For tonight, mostly clouds and a low near 60. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy throughout the day with slight fog in the evening and a high around 67. This weather forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Are you tired of hearing 2 weeks when you call to get your boat worked on? Hey folks, it's Chris Kramer with Kramer Marine and Outdoor, and we'll get you in and back out on the water as quick as possible. We're a full-line Yamaha outboard dealer and Suzuki outboard dealer, and we have master-trained certified mechanics on site. So if it's just an annual service, electronics install, trolling motor install, or all the way up to a full repower, we can take care of you. So stop by and see us in the corner of Frankfurt and 23rd next to Bill Kramer GM, or call us at 850-851-0453.
Your home for Auburn Tiger basketball. WGSX Lynn Haven. WVLQ Port St. Joe.
ESPN Northwest Florida, War Eagle.
Your biggest investment is your home. Protect it while also improving its appearance with Earthworks of Northwest Florida. We have sand, mulch, gravel, or lay down decorative stone, all available for pickup and delivery. Discover your dream landscape with Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Imagine the moment you proudly pull up to your home that you've worked so hard for, enhanced by quality mulch, decorative stones, and more. Let's make it happen today. Request a quote online at earthworkspc.com or swing by the office at 2005 Industrial Drive. Love the land you live on.
Put down your natural light. It's time for the Alabama Update. The Alabama Update, weekday mornings at 8. On the Coach James Hale Show at 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Roll Tide, roll. Jeff, are you there?
Yes.
Coach Hale is now with us. This is his sidekick, Jim Barant, and we have to do it without James Hale today. He's up in Birmingham as well, so we'll have to discuss the goings and comings and goings of college football without him today. So what's going on in Birmingham today? Anything new?
Well, look, I know you coached with Coach Hale for a while, and there were probably some nights, on the sidelines you go, we don't need this guy. Am I right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
No, we're good. We're good. We'll have a good show. Hope things are going well down there.
Yeah, it is. Let me ask you about the biggest development with the Nick Saban world. So, what do you think about Nick Saban going on ESPN Game Day? How was that received up there?
Oh, incredibly well received. I think if there's one thing that Coach Saban loves as much as coaching football, it's talking football.
Right.
And the first time I saw him do analysis on ESPN or was on the desk with it, he looked right at home. Yeah, I mean, he was very comfortable.
Right.
Obviously he knows everything there is to know about football, and he he speaks, very intelligently about it. He can make his point, in 20, 30 seconds or less, which is kind of what those shows like. It's kind of
right.
even though it's 3 hours long, it's pretty fast paced. But no, I mean the people up here knew that he wasn't going to quote unquote completely retire, right?
Right.
And they're looking forward to seeing him on TV every Saturday.
Yeah, I think he's going to do a good job too. We were talking earlier. We were talking about Belichick and Pete Carroll and Mike Vrabel not being hired, and somebody said, "Well, maybe Belichick will do TV." I was like, "Have you ever seen Bill Belichick speak?" That's not he's not Nick Saban. Nick Saban is pretty personable but man, Belichick, it's like I don't ever see that. That's just me. I could be wrong, but I don't see Belichick ever having a radio or TV gig. That's just not something I think he'll ever do. What do you think about all those guys? Now, I know it's not college football, but what do you think of those guys not being hired? Vrabel, Belichick, Pete Carroll.
Well, I'll tell you this, and we've got a New England Patriots fan who works in our office with us, Johnny Condon, who's from Boston. He's been on your show before, I believe, and he is of the opinion that you ask, where would Tom Brady be without Bill Belichick? Well, I mean, Tom Brady went to Tampa Bay and won a Super Bowl.
Right.
Where would Bill Belichick be without Tom Brady? Well, after Brady left, things didn't go so well.
No, they didn't.
So he's of the opinion that, you know what, those Super Bowls were pretty much all Tom Brady and not so much Bill Belichick. So he was one of the guys that was really happy when Bill left.
And I think the thing that works against him, too, we were talking about, I think, is his age. At age 72, how many more years of coaching are you going to get out of him? Maybe to 75, and then you got to start the process all over again. I think that works against him, too. But I don't know. We'll see. Well, I don't know. We'll see. Sure,
I think he would love to coach again, but I also think he likes to be on that yacht, up there in Nantucket where he likes to hang out. Right. So, he's got all the money in the world. So, just kind of chill and relax and, take it easy for a while.
Right. And we spent the last segment talking a lot about Ward. I don't know if you saw this, but Ward Manuel, the AD at Michigan, being named the person, like the committee chair of the college football committee for the next 2 years. What are your thoughts on that, where you got the University of Michigan AD in charge of, like, the hen house? That's kind of, I don't know. I'm an Ohio State guy, so I have pretty strong opinions.
Oh, yeah, really strong opinions. No, I mean, certainly your opinions on this are stronger than mine. I saw it come across the bottom line on ESPN, and, I didn't think a thing of it. I think it's one of those things that, a committee like that, just like the way the federal government is supposed to work, but the way I learned about it when I was in, way back in high school, is that, you have the checks and balances, and the guy who's the chair of the committee, has the people on the committee, who cast the votes and all that. And, how much influence can he have on the committee? Well, he's not supposed to have that much influence. He's supposed to be a leader of that committee. So, I think everything will go fine there. But, obviously being an Ohio State guy, you know the Michigan guy more than I would.
Yeah, I just thought it was interesting. It's like, wow. I mean, anybody they could have picked, and they picked kind of him. It's because kind of, wow. I also have to bring this up too because it's recruiting season. Well, just finished up, and Ohio State was able to cherry pick a DB out of your area. I think he's from Birmingham, which I can remember. His last name Offord. I'm not really sure how you pronounce it. A 5-star DB. What did you hear about that whole situation?
He's amazing, and it's one of those things where Ohio State's got some money. They've got some NIL money. And, certainly, there's some deals being swung. The letter of the law says you're not supposed to, make these deals until the kids are in the program. But obviously, there's all kinds of rules being bent here.
Oh,
but
yeah, absolutely.
Ohio State's got a lot of cash. Ohio State's got a lot of cash to play with, and this is a special kid. I mean, he's a terrific defensive back, and he's an electrifying kick returner. So what the Buckeyes are going to enjoy the most about this guy is maybe more so than his DB ability is his ability to affect the game in special teams. And he's really brought a lot of enjoyment up here to the way he's played the game.
And, it's really interesting because I've been an Ohio State fan my whole life. I was born in Cleveland, Ohio. And prior to last couple of years, Ohio State never got anybody out of Alabama. I mean, they didn't even try, as far as I knew. Woody Hayes certainly didn't come down here, and Tressel didn't either. So it's this kind of complete change about who they're recruiting and this national landscape they're going to, because that was never the way they did business. And you never had Ohio guys going to Alabama either. So it worked both ways. So it's just kind of interesting that these crazy situations we got ourselves in now about who's playing where.
Well, here's the way it goes. I mean, you guys are looking to finally get over that hump, and Ryan Day finally figured it out. You got to go where the talent is, man. You got to come to Alabama and get the players.
And speaking of, what do you think about that whole saying thing and McLaughlin the center and all that and Caleb Downs? I mean, you're talking about some pretty high profile. I'll be honest with you, I was shocked. I couldn't believe it, especially Caleb Downs. I said, Downs is going to be a Buckeye? Are you kidding? I couldn't believe it. I was happy, obviously you guys are really sad, but what's your whole take on that whole situation?
Well, that's the one that Alabama fans are going to miss the most, because this is a guy who's who not only was going to rack up several All-American honors, before he was done at Alabama. He's a guy who's going to play on the next level for many, many, many years as well. And when he decided to transfer, I think the thing that maybe helped people feel better is that he didn't go to Georgia.
Right.
Had he gone to Georgia, there would have been a big fallout. But the fact that he went up to Ohio State, well, at least he's out of the league. But they're certainly going to miss Caleb Downs, no doubt.
Right. And now here's the other thing. I don't know how much you're following. You probably are, because you're kind of a national guy too. But Ohio State was going to get Bill O'Brien, and now Bill O'Brien's supposedly going to Boston College as their head coach. Have you heard anything on that, or what's your thoughts on that?
Well, it sounds like it's a pretty done deal, and we were kicking around in the office yesterday. And what would you rather be? Would you rather be the offensive coordinator of Ohio State or the head coach at Boston College? And I think Bill's got roots up there, right? I think. And the
he's
fact
from
that,
there.
It's a head coach. Yeah, it's a head coaching job, and I'm very happy for him. But I think if you weigh the two jobs, you'd certainly want to be able to run your own program. And Boston College, I think, is a program that's got a lot of potential, and I think he'll do well there.
Yeah, the other factor, which I didn't know about, you may know more about, because he actually coached at Alabama. Supposedly he's got a son who's like 20, 21, who's got serious health issues. So I guess the hospitals in Boston are better than the hospitals in Columbus, I guess. I don't know, but I think that's a factor too. The figure I heard that he was going to make $2.5 million at Columbus as the OC. Suppose he's going to make at least $5 million at Boston College as the head coach. And I mean, you double your salary. How can you turn that down? I mean, I kind of understand. So we'll see.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, best wishes for him and his family.
All right. So anyway, what else is going on with the the Crimson Tide? How are people taken to Kalen DeBoer?
Well, I think once all the hand wringing and all that stuff got out of the way with the transfers and with Caleb Downs, who you just alluded to, I think people have really settled down. And I think Wednesday there was a signing day. It certainly wasn't as active as the one in December. But Alabama got 3 really good guys. They got Ryan Williams, the 5-star receiver from Saraland. They got Noah Carter, the edge rusher, out from Arizona, who's in the Washington class originally, and then a kid QB Reese, a linebacker out of Ramsey High School in Birmingham, who's a really good player. So I think Alabama fans are certainly settling in and looking forward to this. And another thing too, Jim, I think is that Jalen Milroe has been on TV a lot lately.
Okay.
He was on before the Alabama-Auburn basketball game. He was at a card show in Texas, and he's preaching the message. He's talking up Kalen DeBoer, and he's preaching the message that Kalen wants sent out there. And whenever your quarterback is in step with the head coach in terms of the messaging, then that certainly makes the fan base feel a lot more comfortable about the direction where things are going.
How about that quarterback that came with DeBoer from Washington, the big kid? I can't remember his name. Has he showed up on campus yet?
Austin Mack.
Yeah, that's it.
Austin Mack. I believe that he has, and will take part in spring practice. And I think people are looking forward to that. I mean, they've heard a lot of good things about him, seen a lot of things about him on tape, and there's going to be a competition, but Milroe is his guy, I think, and certainly when you have a new coach coming in, the competitions are all open. But Milroe is shown last season that he's got the ability to lead this team, and as I mentioned, he's been a strong spokesperson for this team as well.
All right, Jeff. Well, we're up against the break. I appreciate your time and all your insight, and we'll talk again next week.
Hey, have a great weekend.
All right, you too. Take care. All right.
Did he give his pick on the big game Sunday?
I forgot to ask him, I'll be honest.
Oh, man.
I forgot to ask.
I was going to ask, but I thought maybe I'd missed it while I was doing something else.
I didn't even think of it, to be honest with you. Who do you got?
Well, as much as I hate, I'm going to take the 49ers. I mean, I hate the 49ers because of what they did to the Bengals in '83, but I hate the Chiefs.
Come on, man,
more.
that was 40 years ago.
So I carry a grudge, I carry a grudge.
All right.
We'll be right back.
All right.
ESPN Northwest Florida, your home for Mike Greenberg.
Belichick could play in our world here in media, but I don't think he will.
I have a solution. We have a whole new frontier of media right now.
You should have a podcast
with Nick Saban. Who's not listening to the Belichick Saban podcast? It's whatever topics you want.
Do they need a host?
They need a host.
I could do that.
Of course you could do that.
This is a very good idea. Hey, Bubba, get CAA on the phone.
Saban is down.
I'm not into that.
Greeny. Weekdays on ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with ESPN Northwest Florida. Here is your weather forecast on this Friday morning. As we head into this afternoon and evening, some clouds and a high of 66 with a gentle breeze out of the south-southeast around 9 miles per hour. For tonight, mostly clouds and a low near 60. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy throughout the day with slight fog in the evening and a high around 67. This weather forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
With over 65 years of combined experience, Instant Replay Sports Cards is happy to help you take your collection to the next level. They carry all the new hobby boxes, signed memorabilia, and supplies. New and vintage cards and Pokemon. They sell and trade cards and are always looking to buy. They're an authorized source for Topps, Panini, Upper Deck, and Leaf cards. Instant Replay Sports Cards is open 7 days a week at 752 West 23rd Street, down from Academy Sports. It can always be reached at InstantReplaySportsCards.com.
This Valentine's Day, your sweetie will love donuts. From Krispy Kreme Donuts, select from You Color My World, I Love You, a Chocolate, You're Berry Sweet, or how about Without You, I'd Crumble, all with special cream fillings. Donuts, for those special Valentines, this Valentine's Day at Krispy Kreme Donuts in front of HCA Hospital, 23rd Street, Panama City, and the Ross Clark Circle in Dothan.
If you got more A's on your truck than you did in high school, you might be a Bama fan. Now back to the Coach James Hale Show on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
War Eagle. Oh. That's right.
It's a terrible eagle.
Well, before we get into any Auburn updates, Wildcat has put this up. I need to read this out. Super Bowl 58 coverage starts at 1 o'clock on ESPN Northwest Florida, 104.3, 1 o'clock. And I think the game's at what, like 5:30, 6 o'clock?
I don't know what they're going to be covering.
Yeah, I don't know what they're going to be talking
about. Every aspect of the game.
Well, that's been going on all week. I mean, what can you talk about?
That's true.
After a while,
there's nothing else supposed to be the most watched thing in history and blah, blah, blah.
All right, now, I know you have strong opinions about Taylor Swift. And,
here we go. Okay.
Travis Kelce thing. So, how much airtime do you think she's going to get?
Well, I forget what show I was watching, but they were talking about doing 13s because 13's her lucky number.
Okay.
And so there's there were 13 completed passes. This is a 13th something or other that's ever happened in history, and 13 this and 13 that. So 13 minutes is what she's going to get. You know, her and Mahomes' wife, of course, it's going to be up there partying with her, right. Up there in the booth. So, between those two, I say it's going to be 13 minutes. And, of course, they're going to be showing Mahomes' wife, the picture of her on the, what's supposed to be the swimsuit issue of the Sports Illustrated magazine. And quite honestly, she's hot. She deserves it. And Taylor Swift, as much as I hate her, I mean, I don't listen to her music. I don't hate her.
I'm not a Swiftie either.
But she's good looking. So what we were talking about before, here, coaches, listen up. High school coaches, college coaches, if you're listening, and we know you are. All you got to do if you want to motivate your players is get a copy of that swimsuit issue, put it up on the wall. Taylor Swift in one of her stage costumes, put that on the wall and say, guys, if you give 100% out there on the field, this is your reward.
There you go.
And if that's not a motivator for a kid that's in his teens.
In his teens, exactly.
There's nothing else, man. Nothing else.
Now,
I swore up and down I wouldn't watch the game, but I know I will.
All right. Now, I heard this coming to the show this morning. I listened to the radio. There's thought out there that if the Chiefs win the Super Bowl to Travis Kelce, they're giving odds on him proposing to Taylor Swift. It's like, are you kidding?
They even ask him, I think, what ring will come out first, the Super Bowl ring or the engagement ring? And he, of course, avoided the question.
So it's like, come on. I mean, I think they're kind of pushing this a little bit too much. But if you remember the one where Boise State beat Oklahoma back in the day in that one bowl game, whatever, Fiesta Bowl, I think it was, Boise State's running back proposed to what I assume he's still married.
On the game?
After the game. She was a cheerleader.
Yeah. Oh,
and he got down and he got a ring. It was kind of cool, but it certainly wasn't Travis Kelce.
Now, if Kelce and her break up, then he is going to be the biggest villain that ever walked onto the grid. I mean, he's just going to be the worst person.
Yeah, he'll be the shake it off guy.
They'll blame it. Yeah. Oh, that was awful, too.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll see. I don't know.
But you got anything on Auburn?
Well,
probably not.
Not a whole lot, to be honest. What am I saying? They beat Alabama in the Iron Bowl of basketball. I think it was on, what's today, Friday? It would have been Wednesday. Beat them bad, like 99-81, something like that. So Auburn got it rolling pretty good. I don't know how they compare to your Wildcats. I don't know if they've played them yet or if they have or when they're going to play them. But,
they've already beat the Wildcats.
And the SEC, you got to go through Lexington to win that league.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think that game was earlier in January.
Yeah. So I couldn't tell you. For those who don't know who the heck's talking to him right now, because it's not James. It's not James Hale. It's not Brian Haddad. This is Jim Morant. I coached with James Hale for a long time. Let me just give you a little short information so you understand how the dots are connected. I was at Cape Coral High School in Southwest Florida first. I came in 84. James Hale came to the same high school in 1990 to be the head football coach. So I've known James Hale since 1990. That's 30-something years. So I've got a lot of stories, got a lot of information.
Let's bring out the dirt on him.
I got plenty of it. There's some classics. I mean,
I know his brother was here last Friday, and he started to tell. Of course, Coach Hale would cut him off and go to commercial breaks and everything else, and wouldn't let him talk. He started in on him with a few stories. So I know you've got some.
Oh, I definitely have some. So we coached together at Cape Coral High School. 1993 was our best team. We were 12-1. That's 1993 was the year that I think Jason Kovaleski might have been playing at Bay High. That was there, but they played Bradenton Southeast for the state championship. How's it connected? If we would have won, the team that beat us, we were 12-1. The team that beat us, we would have played Bradenton Southeast, who ended up beating Bay for the state championship. So we got down. We were in the final 8, almost made it to the final 4. We were ahead 10-0 with about 4 minutes to go, and ended up losing 12-10 to Deerfield Beach, whose defensive coordinator, ironically enough, was Jim Longerbeam, who was Bay's head coach about 7-8 years ago. He was just a young coach then, so a lot of dots are connected. And then I kind of went off to college, back to Akron to be a GA for 2 years, then went to South Florida down to Keys for a year. That was interesting. Came to Central Florida to Palm Bay, to Bayside High School.
Where was Coach going during? Did he stay there? Or?
He was still at Cape Coral.
Okay.
And then in 1999, James every year, not now obviously, but then in the off season, where's he going to go? Where's he going to coach? He'd always call me. What do you think about this job? What do you think about that, this, that, and the other? Well, the job that finally got us back together was at Arnold High School in 2000 here. And I'd never been in the Panhandle, ever. I mean, I'd never been west of Tallahassee. So it really appealed to me because I was the head coach at Bayside High School, but it was a brand new school. It wasn't really a great job per se. I'd rather be an assistant here than being the head coach there. And it worked out really, really well. And
I don't think that people realize that coaches move around as much as players do.
Oh, yeah.
As much as radio disc jockeys do.
And the thing is, when you get into it, I was a young buck. There was no intent to move around as much as I ended up doing. But I've been all over the state of Florida. I mean, coaching. There's very few areas I've never coached. Like Jacksonville, not really.
Always in Florida?
Yeah. No, I had 4 years in Ohio.
Okay.
Before I came. And the reason I got out of Ohio was because
it's cold.
The weather was a big factor. And the other thing was, it wasn't county-wide school districts. It was a local school district. In my third year, they have bond issues every spring, to fund the schools.
Right.
And the levy didn't pass. So everybody below me got hired, after me got laid off. So I was low man in a totem pole after my third year. I had to go to the 8th grade to teach at the middle school for 1 year. That spring, the bond issue didn't pass again.
Okay.
So here I was, I already had a child by that point. I'm going I can't get laid off.
You're sitting
here.
on pins and needles.
I need
a
job
next year.
So I said, I'm going to go somewhere where there are always going to be people moving in, because that's not Ohio. People are moving out. And that's what got me to Florida more than anything else. And Pat Perno is back in the building.
Switching seats so we can look at each other.
Anything? You got any Auburn update? Any Auburn scoop?
No, except they played a heck of a basketball game.
That's what we were talking
about. They stayed ahead the whole time, man. They kept him. They didn't let Alabama get in their place and move them around at all. And that was number 12 versus number 16. So they showed a little separation there between 4 spots.
Yeah.
Bruce Pearl's a hell of a coach.
He is.
Yeah.
Yes, he is.
Yep.
He's done a good job wherever he's been.
So
anyway, when we came to Arnold High School in 2000, that's where we were for a good while.
I remember in 2003 when I moved back here, Arnold had a darn good basketball team. They had a big tall kid.
Yeah, we had some tall kids. What the heck was his name? Nate Hicks.
Yeah.
Nate Hicks. Yeah, he was like 6'11" or 6'10". He was really big.
Yeah. And
basketball's been a little bit more of a struggle
and then
overall.
They had a couple of good. Their holiday tournament was good too.
Right.
About 06, 07, somewhere around there.
I think Steve Dubriel was probably the basketball coach then.
Okay.
If I remember right.
Yeah, they had some good teams come in. I think they had a team from Kentucky come down that was pretty darn good.
Right.
Gulf Coast coach at the time, or assistant coach Gulf Coast coach was Hatfield, and then it was the coach before the coach they have now. I'm forgetting Jay Powell.
Right.
Jay Powell brought his old high school team in.
I remember when I was in South Florida, Fort Myers had a tournament, and I can't remember the name. It's a really big one. They've been doing it for like 50 years. But anyway, they brought a team from Kentucky out of Louisville. It was the team that Darrell Griffin played on.
Oh, wow.
You talk about some guys who could jump.
Dr. Duncanstein.
Holy smokes. I know Wildcat members, Darrell Griffin.
Darrell Griffin, 48-inch vertical.
Oh, my God.
That's a big.
They were. I mean, this is like 40 years ago or more. And they're lobbing from half court, and which nobody
80 or 81, they won the national
lobbing
championship. Denny Crum.
Yeah, like wow. They were special.
The good old days.
Yeah,
oh, yeah.
It was something else.
Yeah, Dr. Duncanstein, he could freaking jump, man.
That's why they could take performance-enhancing drugs and nobody knew about it.
I guess, yeah, that probably was present in college basketball.
Right.
They could they could play some ball though. They had some good players through the years at Louisville.
Yeah, they did.
Oh man, I tell you. Local basketball. The Barnstorm Bay High Barnstorm Classic was always a great holiday tournament too.
Right.
They always brought in they brought in teams from all over the state and all over the country to come play. I remember they brought up a team from O'Galley from Melbourne came up. O'Galley had a good basketball team, and they played in the Barnstorm. And I was a little surprised at that being from Brevard County. So
right. I was trying to think back because I was in Brevard County for 2 seasons. Who were the basketball powers in that county? I mean,
well, back in the day, Titusville Astronaut was pretty darn good. Titusville, the Terriers. They had a guy named Reggie Hanna. He went to the University of Florida. This is like in the 70s. And the little MCC went to state one year and won it. 73 and 74, they were runner-up. And then that's my age. But,
right.
Going forward, though, I think O'Galley always has a good basketball team, and Coco. They're pretty good.
Coco. Yeah, Coco.
Coco's good at everything, man.
Right.
Yep.
I forgot about them.
Cocoa Beach will surprise you once in a while with a good basketball team because of the Air Force. Kids come in and they're hot shots. They're good. And they play for the Minutemen, So.
All right, we're looking at a break here, so we'll be back shortly. Hang in there.
Yep.
ESPN Northwest Florida, the Paul Feinbaum Show.
Brenda is up next.
I wanted to tell you that I've given the last hour of your show a name.
Yeah, what's the name?
The name is The Witching Hour.
Wow, you're right. This last hour has been pretty much insane.
Paul Feinbaum, weeknights, 6 to 10 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Discover Kia at Bill Bird Kia. Let your New Year adventures begin in a new Kia Sorrento. Bill Bird Kia has a few new 2023 Kia Sorrentos left, and they will not last long. You get the savings and drive away today. Now offering 0.9% APR for up to 48 months on the purchase of a new 2023 Kia Sorrento. Bill Bird Kia is the home of the 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Stop by and see us at 2435 East 15th Street or anytime at BillBirdKiaPanamaCity.com. We'll treat you like family and give you the peace of mind you can trust.
Offer from Kia Finance America for the purchase of a new 2023 Kia Sorrento with $2,122 per month per $1,000 finance for 48 months. Quantities limited. No down payment required. Cannot be combined with other finance offers. The 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty is a Bill Bird Kia warranty. Must see dealer for complete details. Offer for well-qualified buyers. Must take delivery from dealer stock through 3/4/24.
As a realtor, it's important who you choose as your title company. May we suggest South Oak Title? Their offices are modern, comfortable, and state-of-the-art. South Oak Title can close transactions in any location in Florida, Alabama, and Tennessee. Their free mobile app allows realtors to deliver a net sheet in seconds. They provide mobile closing services to accommodate buyers and sellers. Their offices are beautifully decorated, state-of-the-art, complete, safe, and secure. South Oak Title, creating a better title and closing experience through technology and tailored service. Visit them online at southoaktitle.com.
You don't know what his problem is. But it's probably hard to pronounce and untreatable.
I don't feel so good.
The Coach James Hale Show is live and local from the J. Michael Studio, ESPN Northwest Florida.
And we're back. Funky Cole Medina, is it? So we got Pat Perno back with us after his little meeting with the
Tone Loke.
The commission type people.
I'm Tone Loke's cousin. Tone Deaf.
Oh my God, that was bad.
Boom, boom. No rim shots back there.
Sorry. It's one of my
when we were
coaches.
off the air, you were speaking a little bit about local basketball and Mosley and such. So once informed.
Well, I know that Mosley turned the corner halfway through the season now, and they're playing a lot tougher. I know that. They came. I won't say it's because I got a scoreboard ad with them halfway through the season, but since then they've really turned it up. So I'm wishing them the best. So they're playing better than their record. Let's just say that. So
it's really interesting because I don't get over to Mosley at all anymore. But they have a very unique gym because they got that.
Yeah.
All the seats are on one side.
Yep.
They got that balcony.
Yep.
And on the wall across, they've got this big board now, like.
Yeah, they got the They got a big old like video screen.
Videos. That's video screen. That's right.
Yeah, and then they flash, and they got something along the court edge too. So
right.
They do a little advertising that way and stuff. Kind of like Gulf Coast has something like that now too. They got a couple video screens, and they do it along the court. So, and Gulf Coast is they're forced to be reckoned with. I'm hoping the good things happen for them men's wise. So.
Speaking of Gulf Coast, made me think of it. Whatever happened to Rooney Scoville? I know she retired, but she's still around. The women's coach, multiple championships and such.
I don't know. We'd have to ask. We'd have to get Mike Candler on the phone because he's the current AD there, and I don't know if Rooney's still around or what. So. I tell you, Rooney and Grover, man, they were a 1-2 punch. They were like top in the nation. Gulf Coast baseball's one top program, JUCO in the nation right now. So they're doing good, top in the state anyway. So they're playing well. Right. Well, their coach came out of Mississippi State. So
yeah. Well, high school baseball in this part of the state is very good. Arnold's very good. Mosley's very good.
And let me tell you,
Bozeman.
Bay's a couple years away, but they're building a program. John Hudson.
Yeah, that's right.
I saw him last night. He's doing good things, man. Because they had nothing when he came back in. He's building that plate. He said, "Give me a year or two, they'll be there." I'm telling you.
And of course, in 1A, we can always talk about Bozeman, who's very good, but Shipley won it, and then before that, Holmes County won it. So in this area, not just Bay County, there's really good baseball.
And I'll tell you, some of our 1A schools in the area, they could hang with anybody. They can go, and you know what I mean? It's amazing how good they are.
Yeah, they're very good.
Yep. We got a lot of talent if you combine the whole area. Like if we ever put one high school in there, like you talk about super conference. If we had that one big high school that we could play everybody, we'd be winning state championships every year. But that's the way it is. It's all broke up.
Right.
We haven't had too big of the private school infiltration. But we got the charter schools. But they do good in of themselves. So.
When I lived up in Kentucky, I heard about Panama City. Their summer camps, their training camps for high school kids who play baseball. One of the guys I was working at a radio station with up there, he brought his son down here for a week for one of these streams. And I mean, so everybody comes from everywhere, and I can see why they're spending so much money on baseball diamonds and stuff like that down here, because those guys are, I mean, they're serious. They come down here, they spend some money, and they get some good training. They get to play, I guess.
If you live where I live, out by Frank Brown Park, and I'm not exaggerating either, and now they got that other one at the east end of the beach.
Yep, sports
Frank
complex.
Brown is going. It wasn't always like this, but in the last 5-6 years, they have games there every day of the week. Baseball, softball, something's going on there. And those people are coming, like you say, from up north.
Yeah, they're coming from everywhere.
And in the summer, it's all Kentucky, Tennessee, Georgia, Texas, Oklahoma. They're coming from everywhere to go play baseball at Frank Brown Park.
South and southeastern Ohio.
Public Sports Complex just had a huge tournament with all small college teams, and Gulf Coast won it. So. Right. Yep. It was good. So we're getting a lot of people coming use those facilities are great. To have Publix, sponsoring a sports complex, that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, I've heard people whine and cry about spending the money on those complexes, but
I think it's paying off.
But even before I really understood what was going on down here, I was like, hey, I know people from Kentucky and Southern Ohio and Indiana that are coming down here every year for a week, so that it's got to be a good thing that they're doing.
And they're putting the hotels around them now too. There's a Homewood Suites in the middle of the public sports complex. I drove through the other day. I'm like, when did that get built?
That's a good idea.
Yeah, it's a good idea. Really.
When James and I came to this, this part of the state in 2000 when Arnold opened up, none of that stuff was there. I mean, there was no Pier Park. All those hotels weren't there.
No.
All those high rises on the beach weren't there. It was totally different. It was like no man's land. It's like once you cross the bridge, which was a different bridge too, it was like, wow. And Arnold was like the little outpost in the wilderness, And then over here you had Surfside. But man, it's not like that anymore.
We moved back here 21 years ago in 03. And we were building the Beef O'Brady's in Lynnhaven, but my wife and I would drive over the bridge to the beach, and one day we counted 45 cranes along the beach's edge building condominiums.
Oh, I believe
it. That's a lot of building right there. Yep. And that's what was happening. So.
And now you got Margaritaville on. And then Margaritaville out on 79 also. So.
Yeah, that place is crazy growing up out there.
Yeah, it is.
God.
It is. Latitudes.
I just hope when they start doing this 98 project that they don't screw it up like they had 390. That they had built the Golden Gate Bridge in less time than they have done half of the 390 part of the.
Well, again, out where I live, up by 79.
They didn't have DOT when they built the Golden Gate Bridge.
They're widening 79 the front beach. And they got the the turnaround thing. That same thing. I think they built the Panama Canal faster than they built it. It's like, why is it so hard to widen the road and put a turnaround in?
Yeah,
it's crazy. It's like. Why is this taking so long?
That 98 project is going to be incredible. It's going to be the flyover at Harrison. It's going to be a flyover on 230. 231 is going to come in and meet on the flyover. There's going to be a light at the time, and you're going to be able to get to Tyndall from the beach very, very, very quickly.
Wow!
So there'll be a little roundabout at downtown to try to, if you want to get off on Harrison, go to downtown Panama City.
Okay, we got a caller. Who we got on the phone with us?
Hey, guys, this is Rob this morning. I just wanted to call and tell y'all how good of a job y'all done this morning. Y'all had some great conversations.
Without the voice.
We didn't have to talk about Alabama.
Y'all have done enough of that.
Yeah.
and the guest host will be back Monday, I'm sure. So he
Exactly. The guest host whose name is on the show.
Yep.
So we've talked about this a lot, and I'm sure we've asked you, but you're on the phone now, so let me ask you. So what do you think is going to happen with FSU? Where are they headed? Where are they going?
Well, I hope they go into the SEC, but, the Big 12 or wherever they're talking about going, that means you're traveling half of the country, over halfway across the country every week that you're traveling.
Yeah.
Yes.
That, your fan base, can't afford that. So now you're having to, you're either having to take off an extra day a week.
Your university can't afford it.
Right.
Yep.
So And that's the thing, is that it's not just a football team; it's every athletic sport that you have.
I think a lot of people overlook that. We were just talking. Jason and I were talking about, Florida State's a power in softball. Could you imagine having to go up to Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, Pennsylvania
I'd love to see them mix it up with Texas and Oklahoma.
Man, I mean, the weather's miserable.
Well, see, a lot of people don't know this, but, the baseball team, when they would travel on the weekends to out of town, they used to go on commercial flights. Well, Buster Posey, after he graduated, paid for them to have a charter flight so they could leave as soon as their ball games were over and fly home and be home. And it usually saved them 8 hours of travel time, spending it in the airport and all that sort of stuff. So that's the kind of thing. But you don't have that when you've got your tennis program and your golf program and all this. If somebody doing that, that's ridiculous, to have to do that.
But the thing is I don't think the SEC wants them in, though. That's the big thing.
Yeah.
Well, right, and that's the thing. I mean, Florida says they don't want them in their conference, but Florida and FSU are going to have to play every year because the legislature is not going to let them cancel that game. They've already tried that once before, and the legislature, those are both state universities, and the legislature has already told them that they would cut their funding. That's
the only way they got to play.
Right. They're going to have to play. So really it does, but when it all, I've said this since I started talking about this, we really don't even know what's going to happen until these major conferences get together and see what's going on. And I think everybody is happy that FSU is suing the ACC and the NCAA. They're just sitting on the sidelines saying, "Whew, I'm sure glad it's them and not us," making all these waves.
Right.
So, but, it's going to be one of those things, and I'm sure that people, know a lot more than what we know or that they're putting out there, or FSU wouldn't have jumped into this unless they really figured that it was worth their while to go this route.
Right.
So I'm hoping for the best. That's all I can say. Is
we're up against the break. You want to stick with us or you want to go?
Yeah, I'll hang on.
All right. We'll talk to you in a second.
Good. Yeah, FSU's got it.
Take ESPN Northwest Florida with you everywhere you go.
Anytime, anyplace, anywhere.
The sports talk and live play-by-play doesn't have to end when you get out of the car. The ESPN Northwest Florida app streams your favorite sports talk hosts and the biggest games in ultra-high fidelity.
This is of utmost importance in travel.
Take the sports talk monster with you anywhere you go. Available for Android and iPhone.
Use it anywhere or any place. This is Joanna with ESPN Northwest Florida. Here is your weather forecast on this Friday morning. As we head into this afternoon and evening, some clouds and a high of 66 with a gentle breeze out of the south-southeast around 9 miles per hour. For tonight, mostly clouds and a low near 60. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy throughout the day with slight fog in the evening and a high around 67. This weather forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. Go ahead, feel your engine. Admire that perfectly installed exhaust. Your vehicle's moving along this freeway like it was made from fresh installs and a whole lot of love. With eBay Motors, you get over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
There's nothing more satisfying than helping you find the perfect vehicle. And this month, find something you love at just 2.99% APR on our most popular models. Plus 90 days until you make your first payment. Like the 2024 Camry with stylish good looks and impressive performance. Or the 2024 Corolla, built for comfort and style with top-notch tech. Panama City Toyota. For over 30 years, where relationships are born.
Offer expires March 4th. For details, visit PanamaCityToyota.com.
From the Vortex Springs to the Bear Paw Canoe Trail. From Shell Island to 30A. We're your home for live sports. Now back to the Coach James Hale Show inside the J. Michael Studio. ESPN Northwest Florida.
And we're back. Rob, you still with us?
Yeah, I'm still here.
How come we don't have a picture of Mike Stewart in here if it's a J. Michael studio? Picture of him surfing on his longboard or something, you know, back in the day when he was a lifeguard.
I like that idea better than looking up and seeing the...
Mike's a good guy, man. He does a lot of good. He's a good fellow.
Hey, guys. When I called in, y'all were talking about how great of a place Panama City is in Lynn Haven. And Commissioner, I'd like you to know, I'm a fourth generation Lynn Haven, and I have grandkids and a kid that's there. So we're sixth generation Lynn Havians.
That's cool.
The only, you know, and my thing is that we have a lot of people that are moving in down here that want to make changes and everything else to make I think Lynn Haven like it was where they were from. Well, why do they think they moved to Lynn Haven?
Yep.
Because my great grandmother bought property in Lynn Haven in 1912, while it was still Washington County.
Yeah.
And so, you know, and my thing about Back Beach Road, it's you know, all that out. But why do they have to keep building everything on Back Beach Road? There's 79 is a great place out there, but they don't build anything. That sports park that they just built, the public sports park, if they'd have built it halfway between Front Beach Road and West Bay, it would have been just as popular.
And there's plenty of room in Sand Hills, let me tell you.
Well,
and it's elevated.
Well, I'm not saying don't go that far, but you could have built that sports complex and put the motels around all that, and kept Back Beach Road still flowing.
Oh yeah.
You know, we spent $500 million changing the Hathaway Bridge.
Sure.
To making it what it is now.
And they have to fortify Back Beach Road now.
We took all the red lights from both sides on it. And as soon as we get it finished, we put a red light over there on the west end, you know, there at Chip Seal Road and everything. So but anyway, back to the sports thing and FSU.
We got baseball season coming up. What do you think about
baseball season?
What do you think about your nose?
One other thing I did want to mention, the Mike Martin Celebration of Life is going to be tomorrow, and the flyer, I think they said that they were going to open the gates at 10:45. That'll be 9:45 our time. But there's parking is going to be over there by the old circus, the circus tents, but I don't think you can park. There's certain areas that are not parking because of expansion and stuff at FSU, but it would be great for people that, you know, to go show their support for Mike Martin.
I wonder if are they going to stream it?
No, they said they were not going to stream it, and I don't understand that but you know, they said it was not going to be streamed live. So maybe there'll be something afterwards. But you know, I don't know what time the basketball game is tomorrow. They're having a softball tournament over there that they've got games going. So but they are shutting down the softball tournament. They moved I think one of the games back an hour, so it wouldn't conflict with what was going on over there. So
I hope somebody puts it on Facebook Live or something.
Yeah, because I was going to try and go and take my son, but he ended up having to go out of town. And my son, Pat, you know him. He before he got married, he used to eat in there every night, and now I think he only goes and takes his girls about once a week. But Trey was a fixture.
Trey Bauer?
Yes, sir.
I know old Trey.
Trey was a fixture when he walked in.
Trey was.
Trey!
Yeah, I'll always call out Trey. Good boy. Heck of a fireman, man. Good fellow.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. He's going to class. He's fixing to try and get into inspections and stuff, but he's moving on. He's been a good guy. A lot of people know him in this town.
Yeah,
umpires, referees. He does a lot of stuff. A lot of youth organizations in this town.
Yeah, Trey's good.
Started at Lynn Haven Sports Park at 14 years old umpiring.
Yep.
Now,
good fellow. Yeah.
Anyway.
So your Noel's going to get it going this spring in baseball? How are they going to do? They going to do better? Season 2?
I'm sure he's going to have to do better. You know, it was kind of, you know, I want to say this. Mike Jr. had been running the program for several years. I guess we figured this out now, what was going on.
Yeah.
But I think Jared just got there too late to get what he wanted in the bullpen. And so, we'll see. I think they were just, I don't know what they were missing last year, but they were great until they got into the bullpen, and then they couldn't hold anybody from scoring. They had Florida beat twice last year and let them come back and beat them.
And it's something how we play. We don't play Florida in a series. We play them one game beginning, one game middle, one game end of the year. And it's usually neutral territory. Well, one game at home each, and then one neutral game.
We play one at their place, one at ours, and one in Jacksonville.
Yep.
So.
I did not know that.
Yep.
Yep.
Baseball. Yeah.
Right, and it's always a midweek game. It's never weekend.
Yeah.
It's always a midweek on a Tuesday or Wednesday. They'll play them a one-game series.
And we always pack it out in beefs for it because people want to watch Florida and Florida State play baseball.
Right. Yeah.
Florida State, Miami too. Yeah.
Yeah. Now Florida State, Miami has always been a great rivalry.
Oh yeah.
Had a few guys that played for them that I went to high school with. And Timmy Phillips was one of the first people that dominated Florida or Miami when he pitched at Florida State. And Mike Martin ended up loving him, but yeah, it's the baseball program. We'll see. They should be a lot better than they are. Let's hopefully they turned it around. I've heard promising things.
I said Tuesday when I started as a student at Florida State in 1982, and I didn't realize how great it was to have Bobby Bowden as a football coach and Mike Martin as a baseball coach, two of the most iconic coaches in each sport.
Yep. That's
crazy.
And then the softball coach was there for 20-something years?
Yeah.
The lady softball coach?
Yep, she sure was.
So
yeah.
Tallahassee is a good place to live. Florida State was a good place to coach at and stay. And, now I just don't know what this transfer portal and paying the players or NIL. I think NIL is a great thing. Let them go out and make commercials, locally, do whatever they want to do and make their money and stuff. But right now it's going to paying players.
Yeah,
how much cash are you going to give me to show up? And that's going to ruin.
Give them some time. They'll work it out. They'll get the kinks out of it.
They need to regulate it, and they need to keep it out of high school, man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yep.
No doubt.
It's crazy stuff.
All right, guys. It's time to wrap up. Y'all have a good day.
Tell Trey I said, hey.
All right, pal.
I'll do it.
I'll throw some cornhole bags with that boy, too.
Who you got for the Super Bowl? Who you picking? And what specials you got going for the people who are going to come visit you at Beef O'Brady's?
Well, let's see. It's going to be a big day to go. We got the deal, 50 traditional wings, $50, 50 boneless for 40. All to goes. We got our. I think we'll fill up for the game, and I think I don't know. I don't know if I'm thinking that Kansas City will pull it out.
Yeah. I'm like you. It's hard to bet against Mahomes.
It's hard to. The way they played in the playoffs, and they're finding a way to win.
It's hard, but I'm going to do it anyway.
I'll tell you, Kyle Shanahan, if Kansas City checks out for any period of time in that game, that'll be the difference. San Francisco will take advantage of.
Or the big play, the proverbial big play.
One turnover, one mistake, they will swing the score 2 touchdowns in a second. So we'll see what happens. I'm hoping, as a good sports bar owner, I'm hoping for overtime. I'm hoping the game goes on until Monday morning.
Okay, one more question, Pat. What's the secret on the onion rings? What is your secret? I am a onion ring aficionado. I have from here to Texas, Mexico, from Canada to Mexico, from the Mississippi River to the East Coast. I have tried every onion ring.
They have always been really, really good.
They're real.
You got to keep them. You got to keep them going. You got to watch them. You got to wait for that. It's all about when they float. They got to float. And they got to talk to you.
They talk to me before and after.
Once they're not sunk in the fryer, once they're floating at the top, and the first crackle is when you pull them up. It's all about when you pull them up, man. You got to,
That's the secret. Now,
same thing with cheese sticks. You got like 4 seconds before you still have a cheese stick, or all the cheese goes out of them. You got to get them up at the right time. Yep.
You're going to be busy. I hope you're ready for this.
I think we prepare for it every year. We put a lot of girls on to-goes. We have our best crew. It's a mandatory work day. Super Bowl and St. Patty's would be. So that's how we do it. So I appreciate y'all letting me come on 2 times in a week. I feel like royalty.
Right. Well, we appreciate you coming on. We really do.
Well, thank you, guys.
Helped us out a lot.
Yeah, helped out a lot. You sure did.
Thank you, Mr. Jimmy.
All right, no problem.
Jason, wherever you are.
Yeah, Jason does a great job, man.
Yeah,
I love talking to that guy, man. It's good.
He knows what he's talking about, that's for sure.
Yeah, he does. He's very knowledgeable, man. Good kudos to you, buddy.
All right, so if you got nothing to do on Sunday, go to Beef O'Brady's. Go to Newbies, all the people that we...
Get your order in early, right?
Right. That Cajun place, all the places.
That Cajun place. Forgot about that.
J. Max. Go catch the game somewhere.
ESPN Northwest Florida. It's the Coach James Hale Show.
Super Bowl halftime show. What's it pay? What's it cost? Let's look into it.